Hey, how goes it? So I made you the video on low self-esteem this morning. Let me know if it was useful. And the next one on my list is the one about flashbacks. And let me see, no questions yet. Hey there. So about flashbacks, I was gonna make you a video tomorrow, unless you ask me for something else. But basically for me, I would have flashbacks where I would like really dip into where I was when I was 5 or 6 or 7, and it would be so vivid that I would forget that I'm in the now. Any of you had the same experience? It would be kind of like I'm in my adult body, but I go back to when I was a kid, and I would smell like anything could trigger it, and then it could trigger a panic attack. So it could be even the smell, or just somebody would look at me weird, or I wouldn't even know what that was. So tell me if you can relate. I want to make you a video tomorrow, kind of like how to get out of it. I know there's all kinds of tips, like people say hold a piece of ice or bite into a lemon. For me, what worked is I had to write myself out of it, and also really loud music. I would like blast really loud music, so I would stay actually in the present, that I would not get sucked into the past. And if I did get sucked into the past, I had this feeling of, I don't know if any of you guys can relate, when the flashbacks makes you sick in the stomach. Like it would be so disgusting that I wanted to throw up. Like this feeling of throwing up when you're actually not nauseated, so like your belly. Oh, thank you. And this is Q&A, guys. So if you ask me any question, just make sure that you ask a question in the little, instead of just commenting, there's like a little square rectangle thingy with a question mark. So if you ask a question in there, I'll select a question and I'll answer. But I wanted to, until then, talk to you about flashbacks and, ask me what would be most useful for you for tomorrow. Like this morning, I made you a video on self-esteem, which is, the sucky part about all of us abuse survivors, that we just don't think that we're worth anything. Like all of these great things in life pass by, somebody else can have them, but not me, because I'm a worthless shit. And then you have this la story in your brain going on, which is not your story even anymore. And adults who told you the story are not even there anymore, but you just keep going and you can't break out of it. It's like, like flies. The analogy I had was like flies. Do you think brain is a computer? I mean, yeah, fucking ingenious computer, right? It helps us survive. It helps us block out the shit that we want to block out. Again, if you want to ask a question, ask it in the ask a question square thingy. Hang on, I have my heat going on so hot. I'm gonna go and turn it off and come back. How do you deal with loneliness? Yeah, what kind of a loneliness exactly do you mean? Because hey, hello there. Hello, and tell me what your name is, where you're from, if you're gonna ask a question, because this way I can post the question on the screen that everybody can see the question that I'm answering. The question that I'm answering. So I actually really hid from people for about 10 years, and I wasn't lonely, if it makes any sense. Like I was lonely, but I also was pissed off at just people in general. I was pissed off at my family. Howdy, ugly, too hot. Oh hey, Idly from Houston, Texas, right on. So yeah, guys, if you want to ask a question in the little squarish thingy with the question mark, so I can post it for everybody. Oh, hey, Amal from Saudi Arabia. Good to see you. So I wasn't really lonely. I don't know if you guys can relate to that. I was lonely, but I also wasn't lonely. Like I really didn't want to be among people. Does it make sense? Like I would want to be with people, but I was so scared to be with people because people would come and they would bite me or they would hurt me. And so I was happy to be on my own. Hey there. And that happiness was not really good happiness. It was kind of like me hiding from happiness, right? From the actual happiness. But it was also me hiding from people where I did not have my boundaries around me, right? So the boundaries that I would create, I didn't even know how to create them. It was just kind of like the terrible part about it, we don't even know, we're not even aware what boundaries are, or that, yeah, exactly, you've been bit before. So it's just like you just don't want to be around people because you want to prevent the pain that you've been through, and you're just like, you don't know how to deal with it because you're so vulnerable all the time. And you're just like, hey, I can't create boundaries. So actually, Hey, hello there, Mary Sweet. So the boundaries or the loneliness. Does it make sense? The question he asked, loneliness is the boundary. It's like the first boundary we can create is loneliness, right? So it was just this barrier of not just distance from people, but like a physical distance. I literally would not go anywhere. I would not go to parties. I would not go see anybody. And that was preceded by the period of being really, really angry. You know? So yeah, you're trying to wrap your head around boundaries. So, oh, hey, from Athens in Greece. No, Athens, Georgia. Apologies. You don't have the concept of boundaries because you've never been taught. You've always been taken from. Okay, so like your body, especially if you're a childhood sexual abuse survivor, right? Like me. So when your body is being used for the uses you don't understand as a kid, and you literally have no understanding of what's happening, you don't even know that you can have boundaries. You don't even know that your body belongs to you. Does it make sense? Like, you don't know. Your body is being taken from you, and you're like, here you go. Do whatever the fuck you want to do with my body, right? And so it's like, oh, you mean it actually belongs to me? I can actually tell people not to touch it. It was a revelation for me in my fucking 40s, you know? It's like, oh, wow, really? Okay, I didn't know that. You know, I'd be the one who would be jumping at people, hugging people, and like, sure, here, touch me, you know? Yeah, I feel you, Sharon, about not being left out of things. I mean, it wasn't by choice so much. I couldn't go out and speak to people when people would say, have you ever, any of you experienced this? Hi, how are you? And I would want to tell them my story, but I couldn't. I couldn't tell them, hi, I'm bad. You know how people tell, hey, how are you? You're like, I'm good, right? I'm fine. And then they would tell you, hey, how are you? And you're like, I'm really bad. Like, just try it. And people would look at you like, what? You know? And then I was just like, how do you even talk about it? You don't even know how to tell. Oh, no, you're good. Applesauce. Hold on. Applesauce. Your name is... fuck, I forgot your name. Remind me again. But let me go. I see there's a bunch of questions. How do you know if you have PTSD? You know, so like, first of all, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychotherapist, psychologist, or not a professional. I'm just a survivor, just like you guys. The way I learned my shit was just that, exactly, nobody cares. The way I learned is my body would freak out. So my body would react to situations where it was not supposed to react with such intensity. And I frankly hate these labels in the way, you know, like, oh, you have ADD, ADHD, PTSD, DDD, whatever else it's being called. I don't care what it's called. The only thing I knew was that when I'm in a normal situation and I smelled a certain food, my body would flip out and I would stop breathing and I would start having strange visions. That was not normal, right? And so that was my body trying to tell me, hey, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. So to answer your question, how do you know if you have PTSD? Who the fuck cares what it's called, right? What you do know is your body's trying to tell you something. And if your body's trying to tell you something, we're not equipped largely as society to deal with it. Because you're either being shoved into like a hospital where they think you have a heart attack and you're being given a mask with oxygen, or you're told, okay, something is cuckoo up here, you're going to go to the, psych ward or whatever, you're going to go to the doctor. It's separated. If you're going to the therapy, you don't really talk about your body, right? Or if you go to the hospital, don't talk about your brain. Hello, where is this brain? It's fucking in this box right here. Like, dun 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 dun, I can hit it, right? It's this bones, this brain right there. So how can you separate that, right? So yeah, sure, you can go and read descriptions of here is what PTSD and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? That really never helped me. What helped me was to go back to my body and say, hey, what is going on? Can you talk to me? The way I did it through writing. I talked to my body through books because that forced me to sit down and actually talk to myself when I was being alone, and that just really, really forced me to put my thoughts in order and then read it and go, oh, wow, wait a second. So this is what happened, really? Can you tell me more? Any of you had this experience when you are writing something that's creative, not journaling, not writing in your diary, but when you're putting you know, you're writing something creative like poetry or just a piece of flash fiction or just something imaginative. Have you had this experience when you write and you go, whoa, I don't know where that came from? Yeah, you have that? Like, I don't know where that came from. From here. Like, where else would it come from? But we don't listen. So the funny part is it does come from here, something you've experienced in the past. And so it's in here, because it's this brain, exactly, right? It's this brain goes, wait a second, I have hidden that from you. Hey, you asshole, how did you get back and access that? And you go, took you, you know, that's the point. So I would tell you, exactly, yeah, me, I can raise like both my hands and my feet and everything. So like and jummy button, when you know, how do you know if you have PTSD? I think that even you questioning this right now, probably you already know. Does it make sense? Like you don't really need necessarily diagnosis unless you're in a place where you're seriously feeling like you're not capable of living life. And that's different. This is where you absolutely do need a mental health professional. You need to go, you know, to therapy, or you need to go to counseling, and I love therapists. We're here talking about a different thing, which is you are in a place that's relatively stable, right? And you can help yourself, because it's very different if you cannot help yourself. If you cannot help yourself, then you need somebody else's help, right? What we're doing here is I'm trying to create this safe community for us. I'm trusting you with my story. I'm basically, guys, trusting you with my gut. I'm trusting you with my heart. I'm trusting you with being vulnerable, with my vulnerability, openness, with being raw. And I hope that in this way, you can return to me your trust, that you can be open and raw with me and you can share your story. And that way we can heal together, because we're just really not talking enough about it. And that really sucks. Yeah, you're very welcome. Summer Suicide. Jesus, what an awesome name you have. So how do you deal with anger, like lashing out? You know, what I did is I would write it out again into the story. What I did was I just wanted to get the anger out, but I didn't know that I could, because I was trained not to, right? I was trained to suppress it. The men around me could be angry, but no, I had to be a nice little girl and I couldn't be angry. And I would lash out at me. So I would hurt me. Anybody else in here, right? You have so much anger, but you just feel like you absolutely cannot touch anybody, cannot hurt anybody, right? So you hurt yourself, right? Which is perverted, but this is what we do. So I did have, to answer your question, Summer Suicide, I did have, you know, a few of those moments where I got really angry. So angry that it was even too much for me to turn in on me. So then I would punch a wall or something really hard, to the point where I would hurt physically so bad that it would kind of get me out of that moment of that rage. Does it make sense? Like, or squeeze something sharp to like really, there were a few moments when I had to do that, or, you know, plunge my hand into like ice, just something to just jar me out of this. Yeah, punching a bag. Exactly. For the longest time, I wanted to. Have you guys seen those like bags, you know, the boxing bags, the bags that you punch? Like my hands are actually, my arms are really weak. I do ballet, you know, my legs are pretty strong, but fuck, here I'm not. So I always wanted to like have this punching bag in the garage or something hanging, where I would go and like punch the shit out of it. So I would say the dealing with anger per se, there's two ways. One, let it out. Like, seriously, it's gonna eat you alive, but let it out safely, right? So you cannot just go and punch somebody's face unless they're punching you and you're surviving, right? So you're trying to fight them. But if you cannot safely go and punch something, like destroy it, yell it out, scream, you know, you can go hike into the mountains and just scream your head off. Or you can scream into a pillow, like literally stuff your face into it and scream, or punch it. If anybody can hear it, anybody is gonna feel like you're crazy, or they're gonna call cops on you or something else, don't do it. So the other way I did it, because I was in an environment where I could not scream. Actually, for the longest time, I could not scream, period. I couldn't even make myself scream. So I would write it into a story. I wrote it into a story and I went ballistic in there. I would hurt my abuser, torture him, kill him, cut off his balls, his dick, his head, you know, skewer his eyeballs. I mean, I went nuts. and it felt so good. It also felt so good to write all this horror, all this blood. And I remember my readers would tell me, wow, how do you come up with all of this, horrific stuff? And like, you seem so nice and sunny and happy and smiling, right? And it's just like, you don't want to know, kind of like, yeah, I can look all smiley and happy. It's because I got all this anger out of me so does that help? Summer suicide? I hope. Yeah, I know, it's totally funny. So it's almost like you're killing two birds with one stone. One, you're actually getting back at your abusers because you're sharing the story. And two, you even can get paid for it. Like, you're writing fiction, right? So you're creating something out of their destruction. So you changed because your abusers are destructive, right? They want to destroy you. And frankly, if you look at most of your abusers, you guys, anybody else here, do you see how they destroy themselves? Do you see how they dug themselves into a grave? Yeah? Do you see how they destroy relationships around them? Do you see how they try really hard and they destroy, their careers? They jump around. There's some few of them. Yeah, so do you know what I mean, right? If you look at those people, you really, really see that they are at hard work to destroy, not just you, which they try to do, but also themselves and the people around them. It's because they do feel guilty for what they've done. They do feel a lot of remorse. I mean, we're not talking here about people who are really beyond help or beyond what society can help, like sociopaths and serial killers, right? People where we're just not equipped at the moment to help them. Although we can still help those people too. We don't have the resources, it would take maybe 30 to 40 years of like intensive therapy and who knows what else. The only thing we can do is lock them up in jail. But the people who have hurt you, most of them are not criminals, right? So these are the people who are really hurting, and they dealt with their anger, what you're asking, summer suicide, by hurting you. They decided, I'm not going to destroy me, but I'm going to fucking hurt you. But you know why? They do destroy themselves, because when they look in your face, especially if it's your relative, you're the trigger, okay? They see you, but they see themselves. And you trigger in them the response for them wanting to destroy themselves at that age. Does it make sense? Like, they look at you and you're a convenient target because they've always wanted to do that. But guess what? They're little shits. They're cowards. They never actually dare to do it because it's only cowards who hurt other people. Because it is easier to hurt someone than to run away, right? So this is what they do to us. We are just a trigger. And we triggered something really painful, usually trauma in their past, because usually abuse goes on for generations until we stop the cycle. Like, anybody else here stop the cycle? Yeah, I have 2 kids and thank God I stopped the cycle of abuse. So it's like it goes on and on and on. If you start digging, it's your parents and their parents and the grandparents and the great-great-great-grandparents, and it goes on down into like the medieval ages where, people could be quartered for nothing, for just looking wrong, where torture was national sport. We didn't have TV. What did we do? We went to watch executions with kids dressed really nicely. That was fun, right? So, okay, yeah, I'm so happy for you that you're working on stopping the cycle. So does that answer your question? Summer suicide? Oh, that's a good one. What's my favorite book or author? It's one of those funny things where it kind of changes by the moment. I would tell you that probably the very first author who got me inspired to begin writing was Stephen King. I was, I'm so happy, Summer said that it was helpful. I was back in Russia. I'm from Russia originally. I was in my 20s. I was like 21 or something. And I used to study architecture, you guys. I'm actually an architect by education. Would you believe it or not? So my institute, Moscow Architectural Institute, was by the subway, and I would get out of a subway, and there were like these tables for books to be sold. If you can imagine Russia, winter, these guys in like furry hats and stuff. And I don't even know if they were legally translated or not. Because you gotta have a license to really make a translation. And there was so much stuff sold on the black market back then in Russia. But they were like these books, and they look like with these gory covers, you know. And I picked up one, and it was called Thinner. It's Stephen King wrote it about Robert, I forgot his pseudonyms. He didn't actually write it by his name. So it's about a curse. It's about a man who's really fat, and he, I believe, somehow crosses the Native American man who sits in front of a courthouse. I think he's a lawyer. I cannot remember. But yeah, I can totally be your mom. I'll be your TikTok mom, Muscle Gotti. Totally. So he curses the man, and he just whispers one word, thinner. And then that man starts losing weight. At first, he's really happy because he's got, you know, a beer gut, and, you know, he always wanted to try to lose weight. But then he gets thinner and thinner and thinner. He continues until he is practically eaten alive. There's only bones left. And you know what he does? He goes back to that guy. He finds him in the camp. I think maybe it was gypsies. No, I think it was a gypsy. Yeah, I think so. So he goes, what can I do? He goes, well, you can pass on the curse to somebody you love or something like that. I'm just blowing the story for you right now. So, you know, don't read it now because I'm just about to blow it to you. So he puts it into a pie. And who do you think that gives the pie to eat? I'll give you a couple guesses. But this was the first book that I read, and I was like, oh my fucking God, this is horror. I love it. You know, it was like, oh, this is horror. This is not horror. So what I'm writing, because I grew up among violence. I mean, like I told you before here, anybody else from big cities where you've seen people killed, murdered, you've been followed, there's been mafia, there's been shootings, there's murder every day. You pretty much are surrounded with it. You're living in it. There's gangs outside in the street. Like you just gotta survive, right? So I come from Moscow, from the place like that, huge city, over 20 million people. So I can probably relate, you know, big cities here, New York maybe, or Chicago, right? So we just grow up with these stories. And so I would say, in terms of author, probably Stephen King is still, oh, you're gonna read my books? Okay, you asked for it, you guys. Trigger warning, it is fucking horrific. Here, these are my my three best ones. So this is my bestseller. Everybody really loves it. Well, I should flip it around. I don't know, you're seeing it backwards. It's called Rosehead. It's about a rose garden that eats people. So, and a preteen girl and a talking dog, they like kind of save the people, like Sherlock Holmes and Watson. This is about ADD. This is about an adolescent girl who's 13, has ADD, ADHD, is neglected by parents, and like, you know, she basically, that's the dark story underneath it. And this is the one I just published. This is a ghost story. It's about a Russian ballerina who confronts her father for sexually abusing her in the book. And I have an inner child in here. By the way, guys, I talked to you about inner child. This book took me 5 years to write. Those of you who are saying, hey, I'm doing inner child work, that's how long it took me, okay? Every day I would sit down for 2 to 4 hours and I would write it, and there's a character in there who is me. There's two of me. There's the adult me and then the kid me. And the kid is trashing the adult. She's angry. She's mean. She's just like, oh my God. So, are there really shootings and killings in public in Moscow? What? Yeah, just go read the news every day. Like in any big city, actually, in any country. So this is the one that I'm most proud of because this took me the longest. This one is about a homeless teenage girl. I was a teenage mom and I was homeless for a little while. Like, yeah, it's available as an ebook. If you go on Amazon and just type in my name, you'll find my books. There's ebooks, paperbacks, and I have a few audiobooks actually. This one is being produced into audiobook right now. But this one is about people turning into animals, you know, in Moscow streets. So does that answer your question? So in terms of favorite book though, oh, screw it. I can't, you know, it really depends. Like right now I'm rereading Stephen King's It. I really, really love it, but it really changes. I love Clive Barker. Anybody else here read the Books of Blood? I mean, usually you mention it to people go, fuck no. Man, I love his stuff. I also really love Astrid Lindgren. She was oh my God, was she Norwegian? Oh, now I'm blanking out. How? I also love Moomin stories. Moomin Trolls. Anybody else here is from Europe? You know, Moomin Trolls by Tove Jansson. So if you're looking for, it's the best, the sunniest. Oh, by the way, you guys, if you want to read something so sweet and heartwarming and like dip you back into childhood, please Google this right now, Moomin Trolls. Read the books about Moomin Trolls. There's illustrated books. They're adorable. And Tove Jansson is, oh my God, I can't believe it. I'm blanking out. Either Estonian or Norwegian, you know, you will find out. But she's one of my favorite authors as well. So that was not just one; it was a few, right? Let me go see any more questions. So, what do you mean? My mom says I have a life story for new people. Like, what exactly do you mean? What's the name again? Oh, Moomin. Okay, so the way it's spelled is Moomin, like Moomin. Moomin Trolls. Let me write this down, and it's probably gonna be backwards, but Moomin Trolls. Yeah, they have read the actual books, not the ones they're just oh, I just love you right back. Yeah, Moomins, Tove Jansson. Thank you so much. Thank you. What's my ethnicity? Well, I'm Russian. I'm from Russia originally. Hold on, let me ask the question. So KBS Live says, my mom says when I meet new people, I tell them my story. I tell it in my head. Can you tell me again exactly what you mean? I'm not sure that I understand. How does your mom, how can your mom know what story you're telling if it is in your head? Or type in your question again. By the way, guys, if you want me to answer your question, for sure, type it into that little box so I can put it up on the screen so we can all see it. But about Moomin Trolls, it's just one of those really uplifting, sweet, kind of like Winnie the Pooh. You guys read Winnie the Pooh? It was one of my favorite books when I was little, and it was just so heartwarming. It was just so, from Greenland. Holy shit. Hi, thank you so much for being here. That is amazing. I would say, you guys, books saved my life. Like, anybody else can relate here. When I had no answers to what was happening to me, when I did not understand why my father hurt me in such a way, like what happened, when I had nobody to talk about, I dove into books. I started reading really young. And my great-grandmother had this huge library of books. And I read, guess what? Arabian Nights, 1 in 1,000 Arabian Nights. I mean, that's so R-rated. And I was reading it when I was like 8 or 9. How high from Argentina? Right on. So it had like lots of sex in there, you know, and there was this one particular story I still remember about a woman and a gorilla. And this gorilla was like falling on that woman, basically was woman having sex with gorilla. And I read that and I was like, oh, that's what's happening to me. It's not my dad who's abusing me, it's a gorilla, you know. And I had this image of this man covered in black paint. It kept coming back to me. So my hair thing is pinching my hair. So I was like, oh, okay, I got it. So it explained it to me. I mean, in a weird sense, in the books, when I would read it, I would understand, oh, this is what's happening. Okay, I guess it's fine, you know, and I would just like move on. So yeah, you know, same here, Somerson said. I gravitate towards books with pain constantly because this is what I know. Oh, okay, KBS Live, thank you for explaining. So she told me when I meet new people, I tell them, so what of a history of my past? I still don't understand. Okay, keep going. Just tell me more what you mean. What kind of a question is that? What do you want me exactly to answer here? So, I mean, books, that was my life. I didn't have friends. I had like these girls who would make fun of me in school. And I was like an outcast. Anybody else here, right? Constantly bullied, being the one to be picked on, you know. I did have friends more like boys than girls. The girls would always just hate me or pull my hair or like they would do pranks on me. I still remember. And I would just be completely clueless, you know. And it was kind of like when you're a kid and you're in an abusive household, do you know how all the other kids' problems kind of don't bother you? Do you have that? You know? Oh, okay. Thank you, KBS Life. What would you think of needing to explain yourself for people to understand you by telling a story? You know, maybe my brain is totally dead. Can somebody else explain to me what you, because I really want to answer your question. And I'm not really following. Maybe my brain is dead by tonight. So for me, for example, you know, telling my story was really difficult because I didn't know what words to put it into. Anybody else here too? It's like you don't know, you understand what's happening. No worries. Keep talking. We'll get it out. What is exactly your question so I can relate to it? So your mom, it says, you know, you have a life story, and keep going. Talk to me, you know, talk to us so we can understand, so I can hopefully help. This is for you guys. This is your time, your Q&A. I mean, you're here. Okay, so if anybody else can explain to me, then I can, you know, then I can hopefully help. That's the whole idea, is that we gather here together so we can actually talk about this shit where not many people can talk about it, right? Or not many people understand this. And okay, yeah, keep talking. I'm watching the comments and see maybe more of you will explain, because I'm not sure. Like in my experience, I would either blurt my story out into people's faces, like I'd be violent about it. I'd be like, guess what? Did you know? Blah. Like I was so angry, or I would completely withdraw and I would not talk about it at all. Like I would be like, screw it. I don't, you know, I would be like, I can't talk about this. Like you will not understand, you know? So that was my back and forth. Like there was no middle ground, right? It was either I wanted to throw into somebody's face, or anybody else has this experience where you would begin, like somebody actually is paying attention to you, and you would begin talking and you get so excited, and then you just see that they turn away and you completely shut down. Like you cannot even speak. You can't even open your mouth. Okay, KBS Life, thank you for trying again. When I meet new people, I tell them my past as if understanding of who I am as they see me. Yeah, sure. So what exactly is your question? Are you asking if that's okay? Are you asking if, you know, I can relate? In the sense of presenting myself by telling them who I am is the way I describe it. So what is people's reactions to that? You know, I think I'm beginning to understand. I think I did the same, but I did that about 10 years ago when I was beginning to heal. I would also tell people my story. Like I would not actually be able to not say it. Does it make sense? Like there was a moment in my life, it was probably, I think it lasted maybe only a few months. It was after I was really, really angry. So when I confronted my father, when he admitted to what he did, then when I told my half-sister, my stepmom, and my mom, and when they all told me, you're making it up and it's not real, you didn't talk to him, blah, blah, blah. At first, I was depressed and I was suicidal. Then after I decided not to go through with my suicide, I became so angry. And in that moment, when I would go and I would see people, I would just throw my story them in the face. Is that what you're talking about, KBS Life? Am I getting it right? Oh, is that necessary? I've grown to understand myself, but not to live by it as if it's a life story. I see. I think I know what you mean. So we become attached to that story, and then exactly. Yeah. So you're okay. I got you. Thank you for trying so hard to explain. What happens is you become attached to it. You become your story, and you don't no longer even know who the fuck you are or like what's happening now. You're just always there in the story, and it becomes your defining moment. It's like, hi, who are you? You're like, oh, I'm an abuse survivor, blah. You know, it's like, that's all. You just hold on to it. Although life goes on, there's many more other things happened, but you can't let go. So I'm going to tell you this. It's really important for you to go through this stage. You cannot not do it. You know what I mean? Like, you really need to be heard. The reason why you're telling your story is because nobody listened before. And you're telling your story because you finally want to be heard. And it's going to take you a while. It took me a few years, right? And I'm still doing it. Look, it's been now what? I don't know, close to 12 years probably. So all of this, what do you think this is? This is me. This is my story. It's actually chronological. This is me when I was about 11 and 12 and 13. And I traveled to Berlin with my family. And this book happens in Berlin, right? I hear you now, KBS Live. Same here. This is me being a teenage mom, so just a little older, and I'm like 16, 17 in this book. Well, this is me in my 20s. Yeah? And the book that I'm writing right now, me approaching my 30s. I'm literally going chronologically through the stuff that I've been through in my books. So you can't shut it down. It's just that I no longer tell my story, like I no longer throw it into people's faces. I'm sharing it here for you because this is what we're trying to do here, is to heal each other in a safe community. But I no longer do it. So does it help? Does it help your question? I mean, am I answering your question, KBS Life? I just want to make sure that I answer what you wanted to ask. Okay, you say, that's why I always tell people when I meet them, I find it unique being Russian and adopted and grateful. Oh, I see. You know, I'll tell you one thing is you don't owe anybody anything. Like you don't owe people any explanation. And so I understand that you feel grateful, but there's going to come a moment where you will feel that you don't really have to anything, you know, and people around you can't make you. So the problem with that is that we're told that we're supposed to be good and explain and be grateful and blah, 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 all that stuff, right? However, it's not until you realize that this is other people's wishes and it's not necessarily what you wish and it's not necessarily what's going to make you happy that you can let go of that. And that's a process. And I wish it was easy. I wish there was a button. I wish I could give you a solution on a golden plate. There isn't one. It's a long process, but baby steps. And if you take a step today, and if you begin writing down what happened to you, yeah, on board says I journal how I feel, no matter what it is. You're exactly. So you're yourself when you write. But if you take it a step further, guys, if you want to, I'm leading a circle. We're gathering in a circle, like a class, every Saturday. So if you want to, it's free. Just go sign up. A link is in my bio. Go click on it and I'll send you information. It's every Saturday, 3:30 to 5. And this is what I do in there, is I show you how you begin this journey. You can come every Saturday at Zoom. The link is in my bio. Just go click on the link and sign up. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you precisely how to get this pain out of you through writing. This is what I did. But not journaling, not diary, not poetry, not like, conversation. It is creative writing. So you would write a story. So you would be the hero of your story, and whoever hurt you would be the villain of the story. And then you would hurt the villain. So you would actually do something so fulfilling and so therapeutic. Like, for example, today I led a circle in my community. It's called Emberville. And there's also the @ sign is in my bio as well. So we wrote letters today. We wrote letters to people whom we wanted to tell how we really feel about them. And we were never able to tell. So we wrote those letters and then we read them out loud. I wrote a letter to my father. Somebody else wrote a letter to their mother. Somebody else wrote a letter to an ex-lover, and so on and so forth. And it was an amazing experience because it was fictionalized, right? So it was us pretending to be somebody else, but it was the true story. So we really wrote it to those people. We knew we were never going to send it. It was so cathartic, reading it out loud with other people in a small circle of people. We cap our circles at 10 people because if it's more than 10 people, then the intimacy kind of gets lost. So that's what I'm going to be doing every Saturday, just for all of you. And last Saturday, there were 5 people. The previous, there were 7 or 8. I know about 35 people signed up. So I don't know if there's going to be more sign up. Maybe it will be 10, maybe it will be 20. We probably won't have time to read out loud all of us. But for you to just try it, I really want to teach you how to do it because this is what saved me. and it costs you nothing, you know, except your time and dedication. Like, I mean, this is cheap. Just pen and paper, right? Or you can type. You can even type on, oh, you did, right on. Yes, yes, come. I know a lot of people said, hey, I'm going to come, and then they kind of disappear. So make sure you come at the right time, because you'll get the link, you'll get the Zoom invite. Again, put it on your calendar. It is every Saturday, 3:30 till 5 p.m. Pacific time, so that you show up. Try to come a little early. I'm going to be there a little early, and we're going to work through this shit. We're going to pretty much work through, okay, what is your story, right? And how do you write it out of your body, and how do you stop letting it destroy your body, because this is what we do. So let me see. Oh, there's no more questions. So if you want me to answer any more questions, oh, there you go. We just got one. Thank you. So yes, absolutely. I love humanity. I love people. I love you all. And even people who hurt us, I love them too. We have a fundamental need for love. If you think about the person who hurt you most, do you think that there was love in that person? There absolutely was. Think back to that person, right? They loved someone loved them. And if you think of your abuser, just think of them when they were really little, when they were just born and they were growing up, like before shit happened to them, before they raised their hand and they hit the first person in their life. Can you think back to that moment and think what it was like to be them? They probably wanted to be loved dearly. And most people who abuse us, they really are missing out on love. They really, really want to love, right? So that is what moves us all. And would you believe it or not, people who want to hurt you, they're the ones that are crying out for help. Does it make sense? Like, you guys have seen, like, you all have seen, oh, I'm so happy, Karya. Absolutely, I'm so happy you're here. You guys have seen like TV shows and movies where a serial killer would write on the wall in blood, "Stop me," or something like that. Do you know why? It's not actually just writers who came up with some bullshit in the script. It's real. When the killer kills, they're crying for help. Can you just try that idea for a second? So when an abuser hurts you, they're crying for help. I'm going to pause here for a second. Just think about it. Just think back to the worst shit that happened to you right now. I'm thinking back right now. And now switch places and realize that person, it was in such a bad place. They don't know how to ask for help. They don't know how to reach out for people. They only know pain. The only thing they know is pain because they've been hurt. So that's their way for saying, help me. Except it's wrong. It's perverted. It's evil and it's bad and it hurts like hell. But it is a cry for help. Do you get that? Can you see that? It's because we're all fundamentally want to be loved. There is no difference. If you actually ask a serial killer who is going for execution, have you done something wrong? You know, usually what those people will say? No, I was helping humanity. Back to your question, Carolina. Right? So you'll be like, wait a second, you were killing people. You were killing women. You're a monster. And the person would just go ahead, like right now on Netflix, there is a documentary with Ted Bundy, you know, one of the most notorious serial killers, actually here from Pacific Northwest, right? And he would not think that he did anything wrong. You see? So it's just, oh, yay, awesome, Paola. Great. Yeah, go join, guys. Click on the link in my bio and I'll see you this Saturday. Exactly. You can't save the person who doesn't want to change. So the thing is, these people don't want to change, but they're still in pain. And that pain has to go somewhere. But because they're selfish and they're little cowards, they don't hurt themselves. They don't turn like what we're doing here. We're working, right? You're here. We're actually doing the work. They can't. And so they hurt someone else because that's relief for them. Do you get that? Okay. Again, try this on for a second. That person who hurt you, they cannot sit there and be vulnerable. So guess what they do? They hurt you, they watch you cry, and they're vulnerable through you. It's like they're looking in the mirror and they get relief. Do you get it? Tell me if you get it. I'll pause for a second. Like, I know it's strange and weird, but it isn't. Just think about it. It makes sense, right? So I studied this shit left and right and up and down because I was just so freaking out about what my father did to me. I'm like, how the fuck does this work? Exactly, right? Once you get it, you go, holy shit. You go, holy shit. So I was a tool and you were a tool. That's the second thing I want you to understand. You weren't a child to them. Can anybody else get here? Do you get that? You were not a child. You were a tool. When they hurt you, they separated from their body and they hurt you as an object that helped them. Because when you ask, you're like, how can a parent hurt the child? But when they're doing it, they are disassociating. You get that? Yay, good morning. Good morning, Katz and Carla. Do you hear what I mean? Yeah, so do you now begin understanding the dynamic of this, right? They're addicted to it because you're relief. Why do they keep hurting us? Because you provide relief. Because it's like a pill. It's like a drug. It's very addicting. It's very easy. You're a little kid. You're not going to complain. You cry easily. Just poke you with a finger and you go, wah, you know. And you're silent. It's very convenient. And you can't fight them because you're small. So I was like, man, that's better than therapy. I mean, I'm totally putting on the evil hat here. But do you hear that? So this is, how can we stop this? That's a really good question. So exactly, how can you stop this? You stop with yourself. Unfortunately, that person is not ready for help. And if you try to help them, they'll perceive it as an attack. Anybody else here experience that? I did. When you really badly want to help someone, you're like, hey, you can do this, you can do that. And they go, what the fuck? Get out of my face and stop fucking telling me how to live life. And you're like, but, and then you try. And you go, what did I say wrong? I just want to help. Yeah? Exactly. Same here. You're like, what? But the person is not ready for help. When they didn't ask for help, they perceive it as an attack because they're in a very bad and hurt place. So believe it or not, your abusers did not ask you for help. So if you actually try to empathize with them, they will hurt you more. You know why? Because they're afraid you will expose their vulnerability. They're afraid that you will see that they are little shits who are scared. They cannot show it to anybody. So they're not asking for help. And so you can't help. Carla says, you can help sick people like that. You just have to go away. Yeah, the thing is that it's sad. It is heartbreaking. There is nothing you can do. And I'm telling you, your life and you are more important than those people, okay? You have got to take care of yourself. Those people are adults. You don't need to take care of them. They will take care of themselves. And if they need help, they'll ask for it. Please don't step into this pile of poo that I stepped into many times. If I can save you grief, okay? I have tried it so many times and I got burned so many fucking times. I cannot even tell you. And I'm still doing it. Like, not as bad, but I'm still notoriously bad of like, I'll help you. I want to help you so bad. Like, it's just like, oh my fucking God, would you stop doing it, you know? Oh, you were in both places. Exactly. I mean, I was cruel. You know, I was cruel to my little half-sister because my father took me into his family and she was small and she was cute and he loved her so much and she didn't have to do chores and I had to do chores and my father hurt me. And I would just pin her to the floor and I would sit on top of her. And I still feel like a total asshole, you know, for doing that. And I would not let her move. And I just was like, wow, I was being a little shit. I was an awful big sister, right? Because I was angry and I was acting like a bully, you know? And then I would cry after it. I would feel like, oh my God, why did I do that? So when my daughter was born, there were moments when I wanted to throw her across the room, you know, or yell. And I remember I would punch the wall or I would really bite into my hand until it hurt. So I would stop myself from this rage. You know why? Because she would trigger me. She would be at a certain age and I would look at her. She looks like me and I would remember myself. She would cry And that would trigger my response to me crying back then at that age. And I wanted to slap myself for crying because I was like, you should have been stronger. I would be mad at myself, not at her. So yeah, I've been kind of on both sides as well. And I'm not proud of it. And it was shitty, you know, and I wish I knew better. And I wish I did better. I didn't. And, you know, most of us, we do these fuck ups, right? Especially, yeah, so it's a child, your child, when you have children, it's a trigger. And that was a trigger. It's just like, we don't understand this because we don't really talk about it, you know, like I wish this stuff was being taught in schools. But no, yeah, my dad is still alive. My dad is still alive. My mom is still alive. They're both back in Russia. And in fact, I looked at his Facebook page today because I was leading a circle in my community, Emberville, about writing a letter. And I wrote a letter to my father. So I looked up on my blog. If you go to my website, kseniaansky.com, there's my blog, and I searched letter. And there's a letter that I wrote to my father, you know, and a letter that I wrote to my grandmother. And I looked it up, and they had the link to his page in there. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I went in there, and I looked, and I felt sick. Like half of the day today, it was just this ugly, awful feeling of being wrong, being nasty, being discarded, being like guilty. Like I felt like that. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not going back in there. So I'm not in touch with most of my family. We're estranged. They still don't want to talk to me about what I went about public. They all still tell me, oh, you're imagining it, or the American psychotherapist put it in your head, or you're crazy, or you're nuts, or why are you digging it up, and you're evil, and whatever. No, I don't think they told me I'm evil, but they told me, you know, plenty of other things. So they told me that I'm wrong and that I'm crazy. And that's when I cut off all contact because I just wanted to kill myself. After they told me that, I was like, yeah, they're right. I mean, it's my family, right? They know me best. Yeah, exactly. They still gaslight me. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I guess I'm gonna nuke myself. You know, that's what I thought, you guys. For 2 years, I was like, wow, I'm like, I really need to kill myself. I really can't continue living. So, well, what else are you gonna do? You know, and I always like craved this love, and I understood. I was like, holy shit. My family is a fucking Frankenstein. Like, it doesn't exist. It's this big facade and it's covering up all this bullshit. So I feel so happy right now. I'm so far away from them and I'm gone. But, oh my God, you guys. It was not a fun journey. I can tell you that. It was not fun at all. Yes, absolutely. Your parents have your biggest impact on you because, I mean, you grow up. These are the first adults you see in your life, right? Thank you, Dyke. Yeah, thank you. I do hope. So, hold on. So let's see. There's another question. Yeah, this is a good one. First of all, you have nothing to fix. I just want to tell you all, guys, you are perfect. I love you as you are, and there's nothing you need to change. And anybody who's telling you that something is wrong, you need to fix, you know what? Fuck them. Because they need to go and fucking fix themselves. Like, there's nothing to fix. However, in terms of trust issues, it's not trust issues. It is your protection mechanism. Okay? The reason why you don't trust people is your body's trying to tell you something, which is, I'm not ready to interact with people. I'm not ready to open up. So it's not, do you notice how we use this language? Trust issues, how do you fix it? Do you get it? It's because we've been told that we need to be fixed. Because we've been told that we're wrong. That we're told that we have trust issues. That is all negative, right? Fuck that. No, it's not. But people don't understand. So we come across as weirdos, you know. We can't trust people and we're cold and we're not emotional. We're blah, 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 blah. But do you see, like even in your language, what you asked here, Paola, do you see? Isn't that fucked up? Is we internalize that story and we go, oh yeah, I have trust issues. How do I fix it? Fuck that. You don't have trust issues. You don't need to fix anything. It's other people who need to fucking fix themselves, you know? So, but to answer your question, the thing is, trust your body, you know, not other people. You're good. This is a really good decision not to trust other people because frankly, there's very few people in your life that you can truly trust. really only 1 or 2 really good friends. Everybody else is going to stab you in the back, or some shit will come up and they will abandon you. So you got to understand that this is the fact of life. This is just how it is. There's very, very, very few people you can trust. So trust your body. That's good that you're not trusting people. Oh, you're in tears. I'm so sorry. Stop your racism. Okay, I'm hugging you. I love you. I know. I hope they're good tears. So, do you follow that logic, right? So it's if you're not trusting people, that is good. Then stay in that place and don't trust people. Don't go anywhere. Cut everybody off. Talk to your little girl inside or your little boy and go, hey, what are you afraid of? You're not alone anymore. You're not a kid anymore. I'm your adult. I'm your parent. I'm your mom and your dad together. So I'm going to hold you and I'm not going to let anybody hurt you. You're safe. Okay? I love you. So talk to me. Tell me. And if you have to, you write down that story, but you really listen. Let your kid talk. And then you tell other people. You don't tell them that you have, or don't let them tell you you have trust issues. Okay? You say, I am really working on developing my boundaries. Okay? Can you tell people that I'm working on developing my boundaries? And if those people don't understand you, please cut them out of your life. If you have to explain to someone why your boundaries are important to you, you do not want to be around that person. Oh, you're afraid of your mom, not possible to talk to her. Same here. I'm afraid of my mom, and I hardly ever call her because I don't know when she's going to push my button. She knows exactly how to do it to me. Do you still cry? I'm 46, and to this day I still do it. Of course it is. I fucking bawl my eyes out. I'm 45. Does that help, Paola? Paola Lucia, I do hope it helps. I just wanted you to see the positive in it, right? Not the negative, but the positive. And you guys, I took my watch out. What time is it? I'm feeling my eyes beginning to close, and I wanted to end it at around 10 p.m. my time, so actually go to bed on time. Can somebody tell me what time it is? Okay, I'm so happy, Paola. Let me see, are there any more questions? Oh, that's a really good one. You already are your own best friend. You just forgot it. Oh, it is 10 p.m. my time. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna wrap it up, but let me. In Austria is 7. Hi from Austria. My half sister is in Austria, but she wouldn't talk to me. She's in Vienna, and we've been estranged now for over 10 years. I really miss her very much, and I don't know when I'll see her, if I'll ever see her. So you're in the country where my half-sister lives. How can I become my best friend? Yeah, she's in Vienna. She's an illustrator, but she blocked me everywhere online. And aus Tirol. Ich spreche Deutsch ein bisschen. So that's a really good question. Your best friend is inside of you, that little girl or that little boy, that little kid. And so you got to befriend that kid again, because that kid is really lonely. And that kid is probably really angry at you for ignoring them for so long. So have you ever written anything before? VC 72390, the question that you're asking. By the way, what is your name and where are you from? I really love this question. How can I become my own best friend? I think maybe I'll even make a video on that. Also, you guys, I was going to make a video tomorrow on flashbacks and guilt the next day, and then over disclosing any others. If you want to just type here right now. Only a little bit. Sabrina. Oh, Sabrina from Austria. Very, very good to meet you. So if you have never really done fictional writing, what I really invite you, can you do this for me, Sabrina? Do you study or do you work? Is there a possibility for you to schedule 20 minutes every day? Oh, by the way, can you come to my free class on Saturday? That's probably a weird time for you. It's 3:30 Pacific time. That's like what? 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. in Austria or something? Probably too early. So what we're going to do in there, or join my community if you can, because what I want you to do is for 20 minutes, sit down and write out, yes, what? It's too early. And write out the story. The first story comes to your mind. Just talk to your inner Sabrina. Did you have a nickname? Can you call Sabrina, but like a nickname, like when you were little? And just say, hey, Sabrina, what are you afraid of right now? Like, what's your biggest fear? Because there's only 2 core emotions, you guys, that we have. Everything else is on top of it. 2. One is the fear of dying, and the second one is the pleasure of procreating. That is it. This is the 2. Oh, you can be there? Okay, then sign up. Then come. So, and everything else is on top of it. And obviously when you're abused, you don't feel pleasure. So it's fear. Fear is the root of everything, right? It is the primal emotion we feel because it's survival. So Sabrina, talk to the little Sabrina inside of you. Any of you here, anybody else who wants to do that? Oh, you don't know how to link it to me? The link is in my bio, the link to the class. Or you can go to my community, emberville.com, which is my community, and you can send me a message from there. We have a contact form. Okay, cool. So, but hold on, back to Sabrina. So you would write out a story that Sabrina tells you, and it could be totally crazy, okay? Just let her talk to you on paper. And that could be the beginning of a friendship. Does it make sense? It's like, it's like friendship by like, what is it called? Pen pals? Like pen pals? Yeah. How is it written? The community? Emberville. Like Ember, like a glowing ember, Emberville, EMBERVILLE. There's actually a link in my bio to try a class, but it's the domain name you can see, Emberville. So, okay, is this something you can try, Sabrina? And then please send me, can you email me the story? Can I keep you accountable? Yeah, Emberville, thank you. Sabrina, comment again. I want you to write that story, and then can you please send it to me? I want to read it. So, okay, do we have a deal? Okay, let's shake. You guys, you're all witnesses. Sabrina's on the hook. Can we shake it? Sabrina, shake your hand with me. Okay, we agreed. You're gonna write the story right now, and you're gonna send it to me tomorrow. Can you do that? I want to read it. So, because if you feel accountable and I will read it, that you will be motivated to actually do it. Yeah, you're absolutely welcome. So, just tell me we shook hands, Sabrina. Yeah, everybody. Hey, you, Katzen and Sabrina. Okay, connect you guys. You're both from Austria. That's awesome. So, okay, hold on. Let me see if there is like any of the last questions that... okay. Yeah, it's all done. So, guys, I'm going to go drop into bed. I'm going to make you a video tomorrow. I was going to make it on flashbacks. Yeah, you just came, Reina. Yeah, I'm actually wrapping up. I'm now asking what to make the video for you about for tomorrow. I was going to make it on flashbacks. It's been a while since I've had it. If you have anything, type up your comments right now. Just all go. All type. Just tell me what is the biggest fucked up thing you're dealing with right now. And then I'll write it down. I'll write it down for flashbacks. Okay, I got flashbacks 1, super. Anybody else? Oh, thank you, Reina. Yeah, I will rest well, thank you. Anything else? I have one on guilt. I'm not sure exactly what you wanted me to talk about guilt, but I will think about it. And thank you. Yeah, I love your karma right back. And then like over disclosing. Selective mutism. I'm not sure what that is. Fear of applying for my dreams. Oh, so fear. Oh, I feel afraid of everything. Insecurity. Fear of everything. Insecurity. Bad dreams. Body trauma. Bad dreams. Okay, over disclosing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wrote that one down. Obsessive thoughts. Okay, hold on. Obsessive thoughts. Fear of parents. Breathing. What do you mean by breathing? Fear of... So talk to me more about fear. Fear of parents. Fear of losing people. Fear of losing people. Like people you love. 100% over disclosing. Okay. Or abandonment. Fear of abandonment. Fear. How to overcome it. Fear being alone after feel unloved, losing people, fear of losing people, fear of car crashes. Holy fuck, yeah. Fear of failing. Yeah, fear of failing. And hang on, fear of selective mutism is like being mute. Oh my God, I was mute for weeks. Holy shit. Yeah, I can totally do that. I didn't know that was called selective mutism. Fuck. When our children okay, children as triggers. Children as triggers. But selective mutism, that's a good one. I mean, not talking, over disclosing. Yeah, over disclosing. Okay. So, okay. So let me just read it to you guys again and then tell me if I got it all. So I got flashbacks. I got over disclosing, fear, all kinds of fear. Fear of losing people, fear for applying for a job, anxiety, insecurity, bad dreams, obsessive thoughts, selective mutism, which, holy fuck, I did that. Children as being as triggers, losing control of my emotions, hurting someone. So losing control, so controlling emotions. Does that sound right? Controlling emotions, yeah. Okay, what else? Like, any last requests? Go nuts, go crazy, just go. Everybody type. I'll write it down and then I'll pick one for tomorrow. I'm making like a whole list for you. So I'll go through all of this. If guilt, but guilt, what kind of guilt? Like guilt connected to what? Worried about what others think. So basically, how do you not give a fuck, right? If I miss anything here, go and ask me question in Q&A. I read through it. I don't answer with a video most of the time, but I will make a video about it. Panic attacks and interviews. Okay, so really like, fear of demon and ghosts, low self-esteem. I did the low self-esteem one. I did that one today, I think. Did it? Today or yesterday? Hang on. Avoid lashing out at others. How to avoid isolating. So isolating, negative point of view. Okay, isolation. Isolating yourself, right? You're very welcome. My eyes are blurry. Control, looking out for ourselves. Competitive mothers? Okay, tell me more. That's a really good one. Doing things that we're afraid of. Daydreaming too much? Fuck that. Please daydream. I mean, there's no such thing as daydreaming too much, I think. It's just that our society is not equipped to deal with that. Fucking stupid. Talking to people dealing with depression. Okay. How do you talk to someone who is depressed? Okay, I think I got it. I'm like really beginning to fade, you guys. I love you all. Please be good to your own inner child. Remember, to your little, Sabrina, or to anybody else who's in there. Hug yourself good night or good morning. Kiss yourself, like literally kiss your hands. Just go, I love you, I love you, I love you. Like love yourself. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I love you all. I trust you all. And I trust you with my heart. And I hope you trust me with your hearts. Okay? I'll be back here tomorrow. Again, I'm only going live now, 9 to 10 p.m. Pacific time. I'll try to go during the day. Just my mornings are kind of crazy. But I'll try. And I'll be here Saturday. I'll be leading a class. So sign up. The link is in my bio and I'll see you there. Okay? I love you to death. Have a good night. Bye.